welcome to A Cup of Conversation on BRT2 TV. My name is John Ghazi, and this week in the studio we're going to the Tashkent Nature Park, and I'm very honoured and happy to have a man who I've heard of for many years but never had the honour of meeting or even interviewing. But my guest today is a man involved with the Nature Park at Tashkent, Mr. Martin Marancos. So first of all, Martin, welcome to BRTK.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you. It's funny how you were walking down the corridor the other week at BRT and you're actually here to do a voiceover for a special clip, a video that you are doing for the park.
That's right.
And you saw me and you introduced yourself, and here you are now on my programme as my guest.
Such is life. It's full of surprises.
For me, the name Martin Marancos has been widely used around the island, especially when it comes to nature and biology.
Oh. And that's good.
And the first group that you were involved with was actually Kushko.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I became a member of Kushko in 1994, a year after I came to the island, and I'm still a member of Kushko, but I was actually on their executive committee for 14, 15 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
It is a long time. Around about 2012, there were a really good group of young people who wanted to run the organisation, and I kind of stepped back and let them.
Right. Before we talk about all the work you're doing now, because there's a lot of work that you are doing at the moment, let's go back to the beginning. I actually never knew, and I always thought that you were English or even Spanish, or I don't know, something different.
Well, I look foreign, that's for sure. I look foreign.
Not Turkish Cypriot, well, not with the name Martin Marancos, but in fact you are Turkish Cypriot, aren't you?
I am.
You were born and brought up where?
I was born in Johannesburg in South Africa. When I was 2 years old, my family moved to northern Rhodesia. Today that's Zambia. And when I was 8, my parents moved to London. And when I was 37, I came to Cyprus. I've been here ever since. So it's a long story, but in those days in South Africa, when I was born, there was something called apartheid. Mm-hmm. And this was the differentiation of races and colored people and black people and Indians and Chinese and Japanese. And the Japanese were honorary whites because there were trade agreements between South Africa and Japan. And the Chinese were considered second or third class citizens because there was no trade agreement between China and South Africa. And my parents, wanting the best for their offspring, i.e. me, mm-hmm. Decided to anglicize my name as much as possible, so Martin was chosen. My father had changed his name previously from his surname being Haji Hassan Haji Femi to Marancos because he was a Marangos. This was his trade. Right. And a friend of his told him, make your name English, very English, you get good job. Right, so let's take a pause there. Sure. Marancos and Marangos. Marangos is actually carpenter, yeah, in Turkish. So that's right. Marancos comes from carpentry, from your dad's trade. Fundamentally. And Talat became David. So my dad was Talat Haji Hassan Haji Femi on Thursday, and on Friday he became David Marancos. David Marancos. But your actual real name is Martin Marancos. I'm afraid so. Right, that's what's on your birth certificate, Martin Marancos. Kinda, yeah. Kind of. So, Martin, you went to the UK at the age of 8, to London at the age of 8. Yes, so did you complete your education there? Yes, I did. And so what did you do? What was your work back in the UK before you left at the age of 37? I was involved in trying to raise finance for people looking to fund their ideas. It was called venture capital. Not terribly successfully, otherwise I'd still be doing it. Clearly. But what was I going to say? I was involved in sales and marketing and in finance, basically. So you came to the island at the age of 37. I know that you actually intended to come and take your mother back to the UK then. Yep. That was the idea. Things happened and you stayed here. Yes, I kind of, after about 4 or 5 days, I'd had enough of my mother, and After about 2 weeks, I had enough of the beach, and then I understood it wasn't going to be easy to sell the house and to sell the car and to sell the books and everything else. And so I went off into the mountains. And after you've seen the sea and this rock and that tree, it's you know, they're the same after a while. So I began to think, and I began to understand that I couldn't get what I thought I wanted in life by doing what I was doing in London. So I didn't think I'd get it by staying in Cyprus. I just knew that I didn't want to go back to London. But I did want to go back to London and do another job because I couldn't enjoy the same level of remuneration, the same kind of pay scale at that age in something else. So I thought, bugger it, I'll stay instead. My mother was most upset.
That you stayed?
Well, yeah, because it took me half a year to convince her to leave Cyprus and come back to London. And I come over to take her back, and then I changed my mind, so she was a bit miffed. Not hugely upset, I mean, she was sort of delighted, secretly.
Probably deep down inside, she was happy that...
Yeah.
Actually, where are your parents from in Cyprus? We never actually spoke about where they were from.
My dad's from Nicosia, and my mother was from a small village in Turkey called, in those days, Gargara. Today it's Güneyhan. The nearest big town is Ermenek. It's about, on Google Maps, that much up from Silifke.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you go north from Silifke, a bit to the left, and that's
right
in the Toros Mountains.
But your dad is from the capital, Lefkoşa?
Yeah. Yep.
So, you're now in North Cyprus, and you're living here with your family, and in 1994, as you said, you became a member of Kuşko. So how did you get involved from finance, which you said that you admitted that you weren't very good at, so that as I used to be doing it. How did you get involved with a nature group like Kuşko, Bird and Nature in North Cyprus? What was your link to that?
Well, I started a business in 1994, which was a boat trip business. So I was running tourists from Kyrenia Harbour up and down the coastline.
Right.
With a boat originally called Barbarossa. And one of my customers, I quite kind of fancied. I liked her. And so I took an invoice for payment, and she said to me, "Do you have £1?" And I didn't want to appear foolish. I said, "Of course." She said, "Give it to me." Now, this was the only pound I had in my pocket. So I said, "Of course, here you are." I wanted to impress. And she took the pound and gave me a bit of paper that told me I was a member of Kuşko, and these were my annual fees. And that's how I joined Kuşko.
I see. Very interesting story there about joining Kuşko. Not as scientific as I thought it would be. Maybe you had interest in birds or animals or nature.
Well, a bird in one way, but not in another.
You had an interest in a bird. Okay, so we move on from there. So, as you said, for a good many years, 14, 15 years, you were part of the committee of Kuşko. And now we come to the real story, which is the Tashkent Nature Park. And I've actually seen, not the wild animals or the actual enclosure, but I've seen the park where the picnic area, and I know about the monastery there. I've filmed there before for BRT. I've been on picnics many times. I think it's actually one of the best picnic areas now in North Cyprus, and this is all actually run by Kemal Basat.
That's right.
So Kemal is the man behind the Tashkent Nature Park.
Absolutely.
What's his interest in investing in something like this?
He sees it, I think, as a social responsibility action. He came to understand that there are associations and treatment areas for dogs and cats, but not for the average hedgehog or the broken down donkey or horses that were no longer wanted. And he decided that this was going to be what he did. He inherited several disused quarries from his father when his father died. A huge area, something like 200 dönums. And he now has rented a further 400 dönums from, I think, Orman Daire, the forestry department. And so he's got 600 in total, including then the picnic area, and halfway up the mountain. Apparently when you rent the picnic area, the bit of mountain opposite also is yours. So that's a bit interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. It is a lovely area. In the Torrens.
And one thing he does do, I mean, when he decides to do something, it has to be done particularly well, exceptionally well. So exactly what clicked him on to doing this, I can't be 100% certain, but he has spent a huge amount of money in making this one of the most professionally run, technically orientated rescue centres in northern Cyprus. It's the only one in northern Cyprus. Actually, it's the only one in Cyprus. We have people coming down from the south or up from the south to look at what we're doing, to try and think about how they can copy what it is we do there. And they kind of understand they need a huge investment to do that. All of our 27 rooms are built to international standards. That means to say, in the old days, for instance, I don't know if you know a very nice man by the name of Wayne Fuller.
I know Wayne Fuller very well.
Fair enough. So what Wayne and I used to do, we would get damaged birds that had been shot or flown into trees or whatever. People would call Kushkor or me, or because I was chairman, they'd give my number was around. And they'd say, oh, we have a damaged bird, this, that, the other. I remember going to a police station in Morak. The police called me, and I said, okay, where's the bird? But first of all, they want to know, who the hell are you? And I had to prove that I was from Kushkor, that they had phoned me, blah. And it was in a cell, basically, a big raptor. And we used to take these animals to the local vet, who, without being negative about the vet, did their best that they knew for these animals, because they were vets for dogs and cats and sheep and goats. And we would take them into little cages in our gardens and try and feed them chicken livers from the local supermarket. And eventually they might survive, they might not survive. And we did about 10 or 15 birds a year. So far this year, 2018, we've had in to Tashkent Nature Park 200 wild animals.
Right, we actually have some footage of the Tashkent Nature Park. To put it in context, the nature park is actually not too far from the capital of Lefkoşa. As you're going out from Lefkoşa towards Gaziantep, towards Ercan Airport, it's a village very near Lefkoşa, one of the first turnings as you leave on the main road. And up in the mountains, up in the beautiful mountains, is the Tashkent Nature Park, and as we said, the picnic area as well. So we actually have lots of animals. We've got some footage, or we've got some photographs, should I say, of some of the animals that you have there. Now, can you describe some of the animals that you have? I mean, we can see at the moment we've got some lovely goats. If you look at the screen, the goats are playing, which is a normal farmyard animal. But we go to owls, so you're hand feeding.
That's right.
Donkey.
Yes. This is, no, it's not Muslim.
Ostriches, emus.
That's an emu, I think.
Yes. A big variety. I mean, not just normal animals that we have around the island, but also some of the things are actually, you know, they are some of the
unusual
animals.
Unusual. We have a boa constrictor. We have a Komodo dragon lizard about yay long.
Yeah.
We have an American snapping turtle. We have squirrels, red squirrels. Yeah. We have chipmunks. These are unwanted pets, or pets that have escaped. We have 2 raccoons. We have a white raccoon and an albino raccoon.
I want to ask you, Martin, without going into too much negativity about these exotic animals, because to be honest, where on earth do people get exotic animals. And how on earth do you have a boa constrictor in North Cyprus? We all know about, let's talk about, let's say, the exotic pets like lizards and snakes. And we all know, you know, the goofy snake or the black snake that we have here, endemic to North Cyprus. But pythons and boa constrictors, where are they from?
They're not. They're from Burma or Asia, Far East. And they're not native to Cyprus.
Yeah.
But Cypriots are particularly resourceful people, and they will find what they want to find, how they find them, whether we say no or not.
We even had a little monkey poking out from the corner. I mean, monkeys in North Cyprus.
No, it's not a Cypriot animal.
So is there an element here of, you know,
there is.
Sort of naughtiness, to put it politely. People who are interested in animals.
You can drive across our border, we do have a border here, and come back with a baby crocodile, and you put it under your back seat. And, I mean, our guys are quite busy, and it's easy to kind of get through. And then you have the baby crocodile, and it's probably quite interesting for a fortnight or a month to have a baby crocodile. But these buggers grow. They don't stay babies for long. And as they grow and grow and grow and grow, they become hungrier and more kind of aggressive because they get bigger. And then what do you do with it? Because your girlfriend doesn't want it at home, your mum doesn't want it under the bed. You've got a terrapin in a bath outside, and it's growing.
Yeah.
And one day you're going to think, what am I going to do? So we have a collection of what I term exotica. The animals we get from Cyprus, we try to fix them up, we try to repair them and send them back into nature, because it's important that they're in our nature. We're looking to protect habitat and also to preserve the biodiversity of northern Cyprus. But the boas, the ostriches, at one time it was very fashionable in northern Cyprus to have an ostrich farm.
Yeah.
So people went out and imported ostriches and got permissions for their ostriches because they were going to start farming, but they didn't really understand too much about it. And I don't think there is one now in the north, an ostrich farm.
I'm not sure anymore. It used to be.
But it didn't kind of take off in the way that they hoped it would take off. So that investment was lost, and the animal is still bloody there, you know. And two of our ostriches we have were impaled on the fencing that was used. There were spikes at the top, and one ostrich got impaled through the bottom of the beak and ripped itself off, so its bottom beak is in two.
Wow.
Another one we rescued from the impalement. Yeah, and they're now in our care.
Yeah.
We can't release them back into the wild. They're not Cypriot birds. A while ago, there was a donkey hit by a car in Karpaz, and in the papers inside, and there was pictures of blood all over the place. And this donkey was brought back to the centre, treated, and is now walking around quite happy. Again, we can't release this into the wild. We don't have wild donkeys in Cyprus. What we have are feral donkeys, donkeys that used to be tame and then were let go.
Let go, yeah.
And so they're fending for themselves. And this is what we have in Karpaz. So these animals, what we want to do is, Kemal Basat's main idea for starting this kind of thing was to educate, and through education, to encourage an affinity for, and then encourage people to want to preserve wildlife, not kill it, look after it. Because the more we look after wildlife, the better nature is, and the better nature will look after us, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. So at the Tashkent Nature Park, you have obviously on-site facility with your own vets.
Yes.
If any animal comes in that's been found injured, they can work there. And I know we now have some photographs of turtles.
Yep.
A turtle that has been that was injured.
All right.
And if you haven't got the right technical person, you actually bring in people from abroad, don't you?
Yes, we do.
And I know that with the turtle, you had somebody. I think were they from Italy?
Yes.
They came over to help you with the turtle. Because I mean, again, turtle is a sign of Cyprus, isn't it? Turtle is the symbol of.
So many organisations use the turtle in their logo.
Yeah. And we do have, obviously, a turtle organisation here as well. Just like Kushko, we've got Spot, who do great work.
Yes.
And so tell us a bit about, you can actually bring over experts, they can rehabilitate, and then, the turtle can be released.
Yep.
Into the...
These pictures show what's happening with regard to loggerhead turtle.
Yeah.
This turtle is called Shazam, because it's recovered by magic. Not real magic, it was scientific. But it had its both front flippers cut through by this fishing line, really strong fishing line, to the bone, and the bones in both of the arms were broken, both flippers.
Oh, wow.
So we got Shazam and began to care for it. But Kemal Basad, again, is a very unusual man. He knows what he doesn't know. And so if he knows that he doesn't know something, he looks for the best source of information. And in Lampedusa, a very small island south of Sicily, in the middle of the Mediterranean, is a lady called Daniela Fregi. She's been looking after sea turtles for 20 years plus. And she's had 5,000 or so in her care. A friend of hers comes down from Bari University. This is Antonio Di Bello, and he's a professor in Bari University of surgery for animals. And together they were brought over from Italy to give our vets training to treat Shazam. We found out what to do, how to do it, the best way of looking after Shazam. The other turtles we have in our care were looked after quite well, and that's fine. And so our vets now are trained, not just one, but actually two, are trained and will receive further training in Italy with Daniela Di Fregi, probably July, August time. Now, I'm not saying that Spot or Kushko are not good organizations. They're brilliant organizations. Spot have been running the turtle research facilities in Northern Cyprus for years through Exeter University. There's a strong bond there from 1990. But they don't have the facilities for treating sick turtles that we have.
So this is an extra addition to what's going on around the island.
Completely different
as we have said, there are many groups out there who are doing great work for nature, for animals, from the birds to the turtles to anything else.
One thing I've noticed over time is that in Cyprus, the environment is becoming a much more important issue. People are going, oh yeah, there's a lot of plastic around, oh, a lot of rubbish, and they're picking up animals. They're not being afraid of animals anymore. A couple in Karşıyaka picked up a green turtle that was tangled up in fishing line, and they cut the stuff off, and great, they let the turtle go back into the sea. That's brilliant, and we want to encourage that kind of behavior. What I would say is there would have been maybe an idea to say, okay, to call our hotline number 1190, and it's free, to say, we've got this turtle, we've cleaned it off, have a word with the experts on the island and say who would have asked some questions about the state of the turtle. It might have been an idea. We don't know what kind of distress it was in before it was found, just to give it a rest for a couple of days.
Now that this program is being aired on television, and I know you did a radio program with my colleague Denise Phillips.
I did.
Hopefully, more people out there will know about the nature park at Tashkent and that 1190 hotline number. If you do find an animal that has been injured or needs help or has been dumped somewhere, whatever animal it is, then maybe you can call 1190, and that'll probably be the best way to get some help. You know, it's very, very important to do the right thing at the right time, isn't it?
Absolutely, and the sooner the better.
Yeah.
There's a great temptation to try to look after an injured animal yourself, and that shows the warmth of your heart.
Yeah.
That you want to look after something that can't look after itself. But actually, it's better to let the professionals do it. If you found somebody lying in the street with a broken arm, you wouldn't take him home and feed him bread and water in the hope that his arm got better. You take him to the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the same idea
with animals
to do
as
with
well.
animals.
Mm-hmm.
We also do snake removals.
Snake removals.
Snake removals. A lot of people don't like snakes in their gardens, in their houses. If it's in their garden, usually it's a migrant. It'll go through again.
Yeah, it'll go.
But if it's in your house, it's maybe another story, because you want to go to the bathroom or use the bedroom or something like that. Give us a call, 1190.
Yeah.
We'll come, we'll get the snake, take it away, and release it somewhere empty.
Yeah. Even if we don't like snakes, and I don't like snakes, but if you don't like that animal, please do not harm snakes. Very seriously, they are protected here. In fact, all animals should be protected in the TRNC, whatever they are, but snakes in particular, because they are not well loved by most people, please do not try and kill them. Please do not do anything. Get the experts in to come and take the snake away. Speaking of rehabilitation, we have a video now of rehabilitating and leaving to nature once again the animals that you have rehabilitated, from birds to snakes to foxes to rabbits.
Sure.
You know, this is a really nice little emotion video here. We've just chosen some of the highlights of all the videos you've given us. There's so much to show our viewers, but we couldn't show everything. But we wanted to show you a bit of a highlight of some of the animals that are being left back into the wild again. And it's a really nice success story, isn't it, really, this, when you think about it, Martin?
We're very fortunate.
Yeah.
We have good success.
I mean, look at, first one is a lovely bird of prey being released up into the sky, up into the yonder, away. This is now a fox that is being released into the wild. I mean, every animal, every human being is important in life. Nature is important. Environment is important. We all should live together in harmony.
It really, yes, and that I think.
A black snake, which is harmless.
Absolutely.
In 2 seconds, it's gone away. Happy to be released. This is a lovely turtle going back.
This is a green
turtle. I believe
it
has been tagged, this turtle.
Yes, it has. It was named Delta.
And he's off.
And he's off.
Goodbye. Have a nice life. We have a lizard, a chameleon?
A chameleon.
Chameleon. There you are. A chameleon being released back into nature. So these were actual animals that were given to you, or taken to the centre, that needed a bit of TLC.
Absolutely.
They got their TLC and now back.
Absolutely. So, for instance, the fox will have been, before release, will have been weighed, will have been fed, will have been measured, will have received inoculations against various diseases, particularly things like distemper, leishmania, so that it's released back into the wild healthier than when it came in.
Yeah.
Yeah. The birds, when we release them, we ring them. Wayne Fuller is helping us with that. We get good support from there. Some other experts. We are supported by the veterinary department, the Iris University Animal Hospital. We have a good relationship with Environmental Protection Department. We want to work with everybody because what we do is unique.
It is unique.
It's unique. I mean, no one else is qualified enough or has the equipment, the facilities that we have.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, this is a good thing to know. I'm not sure that everyone knows that the actual park is there, but now hopefully we're putting it on the map. I know that that's what you're doing. You've done a promotional video.
I'm trying very hard to reach out now to the non-Turkish speaking community.
Is that your position within the park as a PR man? Are you now the man, the voice or the face behind?
No, it's just it was something I decided to do.
Yeah.
And so I'm being let to go ahead with it.
Yeah, fantastic.
I'm trying to involve universities locally, from abroad, international universities, European universities, other NGOs, non-government organizations, from Turkey, from Germany, from wherever, to bring them here. We are going to become, mark my words, young, we're going to become, I think, one of the key research centers, wildlife research centers in the Middle East in about 5 years' time.
That will be fantastic.
I really think that that's going to happen. At the moment, we're building 3 laboratories, one biochemical laboratory and 2 microbiology laboratories. We have interests in various aspects of wildlife and for Cyprus. We have people coming up, as I say, from the south to see what we do, how we're doing it. We want to establish a bridge with our cousins in the south for the fact that they have problems, we have problems in terms of wildlife.
Yeah, let's work together.
They can't solve. If we can solve them, we will take their babies, look after them, mend them, and give them back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a win-win situation for everyone.
That's what
hopefully
will be the case.
The Tashkent Nature Park, it looks like, I mean, very good technology. I've seen lots of other photographs. We couldn't show every single photograph that you gave me, Martin, but you came in with your phone and you said to me, there are cameras in each section where the animals are, kept, and you can actually go online and follow what's going on. Is there somebody at the park 24/7? Or
No.
What time? What are the opening hours? When can somebody call you for an emergency?
For an emergency, 24/7.
24/7.
9.
So 1190. There'll be somebody answering 1190.
24/7.
Yes.
24/7.
Come and visit.
We at the rehabilitation centre, we don't really like to
having too many visitors.
Have too many visitors. One of the keys in rehabilitating wild animals particularly is to reduce the level of stress they have. And so there's something called habituation that happens. If an animal is fed constantly by hand, it becomes habituated, used to people. And then when you release it, it doesn't know what to do. It goes and finds people again.
Yeah.
We don't want that to happen, so we try to
less human contact.
Dehabituate. So we have these very special purpose-built rooms for them. When say a bird, a big raptor, comes in initially, they're highly stressed. They get treated. What's wrong with them? Triage. Is it bones? Is it blood? Is it whatever? They're tested for everything. And then they are repaired. Maybe the wing needs binding or an operation to put in a metal plate to keep the bone together. And then it's put in a small area so that it doesn't bounce around. As it gets better, it needs to stretch its wings. So then it gets put into a bigger area.
Yeah.
Before we release it, we check that it can fly and hunt. That means it needs a huge area, particularly a big raptor. And we have one huge area.
Okay.
Oh.
If only we could, let me quickly just show this to the camera. I'm not sure whether the camera can to get this, but this is the area. I mean,
and that's
Martin goes online and you can see the...
So we can watch the animals remotely. We can control remotely illumination, temperature and humidity. We feed the animals through a hatch. We film them hunting the animal that we've just fed them. We look at their flight pattern. If they're flying slightly crooked, we keep them longer. If then they fly straight, we keep them longer.
Until it's perfect?
Until it's perfect, and then we do something called a soft release.
Yeah.
We take the animal out into the countryside, into the area where we found it, and we put it into a cage in that area that is big enough for it. Again, no human contact. We feed it secretly. We open one end of the container and we let it fly out and fly back. And we continue feeding for a couple of weeks. But then we start reducing the amount of food we leave behind over a month or 6 weeks, so that it won't die, but it stays hungry and has to hunt outside. That's a soft release. But today a lady called me with an owl. Sometimes owls fly into windows, they fall down, they're dazed. We get these owls, and within 2 days, they're right as rain.
Yeah.
And then we let them go.
They're okay.
And that's a hard release. So hard release is straight back
away.
into nature. A soft release is where they are a gradual release, a reduction of the food supply, that kind of thing.
Right, so let's now clarify that even though we said Tashkent Nature Park, it's not a park where the family go and wander around like a little mini zoo and enjoy looking at animals. This is an actual place where animals are kept for observation if they're unwell, if they need treatment, and then hopefully to be later released into the wild if they are endemic to the island. If not, then I don't know what happens to the boa constrictor when it's released. Hopefully not in the Guinea area, please. I don't want to see a family of boa constrictors or even a family of monkeys.
I need to come back to that point you made, because what we're doing is actually constructing a small zoo.
Right.
Not a zoo in the sense that we're going to bring in animals, but the animals that we have already, we want to use them to educate young people.
For the children?
For the children.
So maybe have school parties coming in?
Have school parties coming in, have little kids looking at big birds, ostriches or emus.
Yeah.
And in a setting that suits the animal, suits the kid. Even some middle-aged people maybe might be happier seeing big birds from the distance. But, we have these animals, and if we can use them to educate, then that's great. And that's key for the existence of Tashkent Nature Park, is education. That
is the most important thing. That's the underlying word, I think, here. Education. Underline that 10 times. Education about environment, about nature, about wildlife, because we need to be more aware of what's going on around us, our surroundings, our settings.
Absolutely. We see at the park something like 16,000, 18,000 school children every year. They come for picnics.
Yes, at the Tashkent Park.
At Tashkent Nature Park. Okay, it's the only wheelchair-friendly picnic area in northern Cyprus. We have toilet facilities, we have swings and playthings for handicapped children. It's unbelievable. I've never seen such a clean picnic area.
It is, I have to admit, I have been there a couple of times. It is fantastic. Gone near the monastery as well. So a bit of nature, bit of eating and drinking, bit of history with the monastery, bit of culture.
And now on the other side of the monastery, we have an educational centre. We've used it so far to have a biodiversity conference, which was great. What we want to do is encourage children to come in there, and small groups, not thousands at a time, but small groups of kids. Give them microscopes, give them plant leaves to look at, seeds, slides of whatever it is, and they can understand the connection between nature, what they're seeing on the tree, and what it looks like under a microscope, this kind of thing.
Of course, because not only is it the fauna, but also the flora of the TRNC. Different plants, different...
Hugely important.
Very, very important for young children. And when you educate them young, they grow up to be more responsible adults, more in tune with their environment.
That's our hope. Okay, we can't affect everybody. We can't talk to everybody. But as many people as we can, as many youngsters as we can, so they can see the animals in one aspect, look through microscopes in another aspect, spend the day mooching around in nature. The trees in that picnic area are all cypress trees, and it's fantastic. It's a cypress tree forest. Unusual in itself. It's great.
It is a fantastic area of the TRNC. Very nice, very cool up in the mountains, under the shade of the trees. The nature park, as we've seen it from the photos and the footage you've given us, Martin, looks fantastic. If you want to find out more, I know that you have a Facebook page for the actual nature park itself, but it's majorly, I think, mostly in Turkish. Is that right at the moment?
I'm afraid so.
Yeah.
At the moment, our Facebook page, which is under Tashkent Doğa Parkı, is primarily in the Turkish language, and I think this was a conscious decision. We need the support of the local people first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we've got 11,000 plus followers on our Facebook page in Turkish. We want to start encouraging people to participate in helping us with some kind of public funding or giving us unwanted bric-a-brac, this kind of stuff that we can raffle it, or we're looking at raising funds through the public. And now is a good time to start looking at the non-Turkish speaking public of Cyprus.
And that's how we met at the beginning. As I said at the beginning of the interview, you came to BRT to do a voiceover for a special video.
That's right.
A 10-minute promotional video.
That's right.
You did the English voiceover. It's in English and in Turkish. If it's in English, you've got Turkish subtitles.
That's right.
If somebody's speaking in Turkish, it's got English subtitles.
Absolutely correct.
Where will this be aired? How will the people be able to watch this, or how are you going to hit the
Well, it's going to have to go on the nets. I favour the Tashkent website.
Right.
Possibly YouTube. This program, I believe, will be on YouTube in the future.
Yes.
Which is fantastic. We'll start then pointing people from Facebook pages to the YouTube connections. Denise made a good point that now might be the time to start a Facebook page in English. And I think that could be a distinct possibility, or at least have the articles in both languages.
That is something to think about for the future. Maybe you'll be busy in the future doing this as well, as you are the PR man. You've kindly come in today, Martin Marancos, to speak about the Tashkent Nature Park, and we are really, really grateful for your time here today.
My real pleasure.
And you know, we've only given the viewers a snippet of what you've done, what you're doing there.
Tip of the iceberg.
It's the tip of the iceberg. There's so much to share.
Yeah.
But hopefully our viewers out there will understand the work that's been carried out at the Tashkent Nature Park, and lots of different organisations. This is not just putting the Tashkent Nature Park away from other associations. This is something completely different, giving a different perspective on how to rehabilitate or how to look after injured animals, whatever they are, be they local, endemic or exotic animals that aren't really part of our culture here. They work separately or in conjunction with other local groups here who do excellent work for animals, for birds, for reptiles, amphibians. Everyone is doing such a wonderful job here. Hopefully Cyprus can be a haven for animals in the future, and if your dream comes true, maybe one of the best wildlife, or maybe the best nature park in the Middle East in the near future, Martin.
I believe so. At the moment, if we want to test the blood of animals, particularly monkeys, say, or fox, we have to send out to Holland for these blood tests.
Yeah.
What we want to do is bring Holland here, so we're looking at bringing students from those other countries to come and work in our labs and teach our people how to do what's necessary. Yeah.
Again, education.
Absolutely.
Teaching everyone, bringing the experts here to teach local people how to be experts themselves.
My next pet project is plastics. We have a huge plastics problem on the island.
Well, that's a completely different program.
Completely different. But
we could spend another 45 minutes talking about plastic and how to say no to straws. Another a special project here that maybe could be a subject of a couple of conversations in the future. But Martin, for now, I thank you for coming in and representing the Tashkent Nature Park.
Thank you.
Again, the number to ring is 1190. If you do find a wild animal that needs help, please do not hesitate, 24-hour line, and then during the day I'm sure someone can come along from the park and pick up the animal, and everyone is happy, fingers crossed.
Same day service.
Thank you very much for all that you do. Send my regards back to Kemal Basat and the team.
Will do.
At the centre.
I'm not alone.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll hear about you more, especially on social media, and hopefully you'll be in the papers more, doing good work for all the wildlife here in the TRNC.
Thanks again.
Thanks a lot, Martin. And with that, we come to the end of my interview with Martin Marancos from the Tashkent Nature Park. And if you do have the chance to go up there, have a picnic, wander around the park. Well, you know, make an appointment or two, but the picnic area is fantastic. The monastery is even better, and it's time to just enjoy what our island has to offer the people here. Until next time we meet on A Cup of Conversation, take care and go well. Bye-bye.